Hello everybody, welcome back to the Answer Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana, and today we are here with John Prieto from Atherton Real Estate Group. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Cool, so let's talk a little bit about you. Kind of give us a brief rundown on who you are.
Like I said, I'm John Prieto. I'm from Nashua, born and raised. Went to Bishop Garrett High School, Plymouth State University. I'm one of 10 kids, and most of my family in one way or another is involved in real estate.
Yeah.
So I'm a licensed realtor, broker, and an appraiser. So I've been doing this a long time here in New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing on your website, that's a lot of kids.
Oh, yeah. In a 2,000 square foot, 3-bedroom Cape, you know. That was, you know, but when you're a kid, you don't know. You just, that's how that's
how it is,
what you have. And so you go from there. But it was great. It was fun, and it still is.
Yeah.
You know, have Christmas with 50 people and nieces and nephews. And I've got nieces and nephews that are, 6-8 years younger than me. So, we're contemporaries in a lot of ways. It's pretty funny.
That's pretty good. Okay, so let's talk real estate then.
Yes.
New Hampshire is a crazy market.
Yep.
It's been crazy for the last year as far as I know.
Yep.
So let's talk about that a bit.
The market's just super hot. It's, the average median price in New Hampshire is around $267, which is incredibly affordable compared to most states. Like going into Massachusetts, that variance is off by like just $100,000 by going 50 miles.
Yeah.
And, obviously you look at the median home price in Northern California, San Francisco area, which is just completely out of control. Like a ranch is $1.4 million. So, it's a really affordable, great place to live, and the real estate reflects that.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Just a question I like to ask, like, why is it so hot?
Well, part of it is that the, kind of high tide raises all ships. The interest rate is still hovering around 4%, which is, historic low since they've been giving out mortgages or having mortgages in 50 plus years or so. It's one of the lowest it's ever been. So the money is super affordable. And with the housing prices being what it is, it makes it so, a real good option instead of renting.
Yeah.
You can buy a house and pay $1,200 for a mortgage, and a nice place that you'd like to live in.
Yeah.
And in a lot of states, that's just not an option.
Yeah. Any of your big places are just super expensive.
Just so expensive. I mean, you go 50 miles from here, and $500,000 gets you a starter house, and that just puts it out of reach for a lot of people. Working class people. I mean, even people that earn a good income, that's hard pill to swallow every month. So, it makes it, the population is 1 million or so. So, I mean, we have a low population density as opposed to the nationwide. And so I think all those factors lead to really great, housing options for people here in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So where do you guys typically work out of? Because you said you're kind of a little bit more north in Henniker area.
Yep.
Where's the Atherton actually running?
I have an office here in Manchester on Bay Street, right on the corner of Bay and Webster in Manchester. So I live in Henniker. So my corridor is kind of Henniker to Manchester. But I grew up in Nashua, so I still kind of go everywhere. I mean, within an hour, you can get to most places in New Hampshire. So, kind of go where the work is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we can take a little bit of a sidetrack here because you had a couple stories that I really thought were cool when we were kind of talking beforehand.
Yeah.
So kind of give them a brief rundown on, what is Atherton? It's like your logo and all stuff, because I actually really like that story and I should get out.
So the Atherton is the name of the street that I grew up on, Atherton Ave, and anybody's from Nashua, and especially at the north end, will know the street because there's a park there where we played as kids, and we were playing team sports and baseball and junior high and stuff. That was our home field, so a lot of people will know that field. Yeah. And when you're picking a company name, you have to choose based on your availability through the state, your website, all these sort of things. So I thought I had that name for a long time, and so I just went with it. And I looked at all sorts of names and real estate related, and a lot of those were taken and hard to get websites for. So I just went with that. And that logo, which a housing logo, which is a lot of realtors have, that logo was a doodle that my mother always did. So every time she was on hold with a phone call, before the internet, when you had to call somebody and be on hold, she would doodle, and she always drew that exact same house and it always had like smoke coming out of the chimney. And she has hundreds of them. So I just took one of those and made that into our logo.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I like that story. And I think that's what I really like about, because we kind of talked about this a little beforehand. We were talking about Keller Williams and all these places, and yeah, we know who they are now, like you were saying, but they came from somewhere. And it's kind of like that same thing as you are the company. It's a small little brokerage that you own, so it's you.
Right. We have one, myself, and we have some administrative staff, which is awesome, and then another realtor, Julie Brown. She's a great agent as well. And but yeah, you know, as the names are prevalent now, like, you know, Keller Williams, that's two guys' name, and now it's super successful business with over 200,000 agents. Caldwell Banker, a lot of these companies that now are recognizable names, but they wouldn't necessarily be recognizable names until they get to the point where everybody knows them.
Yeah.
And in real estate is one of those businesses where people hire you, the person, right?
Yeah.
And you are the entity. So it's another business name. You know, some people think it has a lot of weight, but I think that the person that you hire is the most important part of the process.
Yeah.
And in Keller Williams and some of these big places, you can get some absolutely incredible agents, and you also get some that have never transacted a deal. So you have both sides of it.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever worked for another brokerage like that?
I used to work for actually both of them, Keller Williams and Caldwell. And I had great experiences at both of them here in New Hampshire, and I learned a lot from them. But, you know, I've got an entrepreneurial spirit, and I was ready to go out on my own. And essentially being a successful realtor is running your own business. So it was an easy transition for me to start my own brokerage.
Really cool, because that was what I want to ask. So, people have worked with big brokerages before.
Yeah.
What's it kind of like, I guess not running, but I guess working for or running whatever, a big one compared to a smaller one like what you guys do?
So ours is, you know, we call it like a boutique brokerage. So a lot of times like I said, if you get a good agent at a big company, then you get a good agent.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're, you know, kind of at the mercy of that. A lot of them won't get the support they need in some cases, but you're working with a small brokerage, we're hands-on throughout the whole process. So things don't get handed off to a transaction coordinator who kind of helps through process. We are involved every step of the way, all the way to the close. And, you know, we refer people out to title companies and mortgage companies and people that we know and trust and work with. And having grown up here in New Hampshire and having 9 brothers and sisters that are real estate related, like if you need any sort of anything related to a home, I can get you somebody that I probably went to grade school with. And I feel super good about referring to you.
Yeah.
But like I said, some of the big agencies have incredible training, they have great technology. It just becomes a personal choice for a realtor. I like the small, you know, feel like you can carry somebody through the entire process.
Cool. Awesome. I like that. And you said there's other things you do too, because you're a realtor, but you also do...
I'm a licensed real estate appraiser here in
Okay.
the state. So we provide valuations, you know, from the biggest lenders in the country will call us and say, hey, can you go look at this property and tell us what you think it's worth? And that's a big part of the sales process too, because you can sell a house for anything you want, but if somebody's not paying cash, it has to appraise. And if it doesn't appraise, the bank says to the buyer, you can buy this house, but we're only going to lend to what the value of the appraisal is. So it's a really critical piece of that. And having done, I don't know, roughly 3,000 residential appraisals here in New Hampshire, I can walk into a home and tell you exactly the issues that are going to come up with the appraisal. And, you know, getting in front of those and, you know, dealing with them up front so that you can make this sell process to close easier. And that's a huge benefit for our clients.
Yeah, because I know there were a bunch of changes after the crash in like 08, 09. So I haven't really seen a whole lot of realtor / appraisers lately.
I think there's 7,000 realtors in the state, and I think there's only 700 appraisers.
Yeah.
An appraisal license takes roughly 5 years to get. It's a really, you need hundreds and hundreds of hours of apprenticeship. You need to pass all these exams. It's a really in-depth process to become a licensed appraiser.
Yeah.
And, you know, being a realtor is a much more abbreviated process. So you can start and have a license in 6 weeks. And so it's just a different path.
Yeah.
And when you can do that and sell homes, you wouldn't necessarily go through the process of becoming an appraiser.
Yeah.
It's much more of a licensing challenge.
Yeah. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And it'll be interesting to see how it goes because there's so few appraisers that things get backlogged.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward because they're talking about reducing the overall hours that you need to make more people come into the business.
I'll try to feed it more.
Yeah. As the average age of an appraiser in New Hampshire is around 55, 56.
It's probably getting ready to retire in a few
People are
years.
getting ready to retire.
Yeah.
And the argument is, does technology catch up with it first, right? With satellite imaging and cost per square foot analysis and these Zillow type predictive analysis is maybe, will the technology get there so we won't need as many appraisers?
Yeah.
We don't know. But they've been saying that for 25 years, so.
Yeah, I think we're getting to a point where that actually will become a question.
It will be, and it's
Yeah.
getting, and a couple large lenders in dense population areas in the States have done away with full appraisals because they can really get a really good cost per square foot. But, here in New Hampshire, you could have a 300-year-old home, next to a mobile home, next to a school. So
Yeah.
you don't have the parity that you can use to use that same data.
Yeah.
So in New Hampshire, it'll be a slower curve, and whether it gets there or not, obviously technology is here to stay, but whether that makes appraisers obsolete, we don't know.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. 'Cause I've seen that across the board in a lot of
Yeah.
industries. If it's techie involved or anything like that, that's always a problem. Or, carpenters, electricians is kind of like that. They're aging out. There's not anyone coming up into them. It's
Oh, yeah.
becoming an issue. So that's kind of interesting that I didn't know that would happen to appraisers too.
Yeah. It's, it's a small niche market. Like I said, there's only a couple hundred of us in the whole
Yeah.
state. So it's not like prevalent that people would know, like where everybody knows a realtor.
Yeah.
There are
A
less.
hundred of 'em, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Everybody's a realtor these days, which is good. I think, anytime it's, somebody's talking about real estate is good for all of us, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So let's jump on that a little bit. New Hampshire, and I guess the Northeast is kind of one of those areas where there's going to be a lot of damage to your house that you have no idea about.
What do you mean?
Like ice problems, there's a whole bunch of things,
Yeah.
especially with the age of the homes and stuff.
Yeah.
So looking from an appraiser standpoint, what are some things they should think about when you're getting ready to buy a new house or getting ready to sell one?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things are basic things that everybody knows, right? Like, the bank, you have to think of things through a bank's perspective.
Yeah.
So would they say, if you stop paying on this house, I want to take it back and I want to flip it as fast as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to have everything done, right? Like, so the trim has to be in, the flooring has to be in. They want a finished home. And that's what an appraiser will go through the process. And when it's a buy, they'll look through and make sure that they're not doing a home inspection. We do an appraisal and evaluation, but you do anything that's readily observable. So make sure that the roof is good, nothing is leaking, that everything is a finished product. And in a lot of it is, that is the appraisal side of it, and then there's the marketing side of it, right? Like, make sure your house is clean. That makes a huge difference. So all the data now is saying that 24 hours after somebody looks at your house, they remember one thing about your house. That's it. So it's like the purple kitchen house, or the house with the expensive bathroom, or the house that smelled like whatever, a wet dog. So that's all that they're going to remember. So you want them to leave there with that lasting memory of, this is a good, positive feeling. And everything matters. Like, where, somebody's selling their house, like, it doesn't matter. They're going to paint the rooms. People will walk out and say, I hated that wall because it was bright purple. And that's what they remember from it. And when they're, having a glass of wine with their spouse 24 hours later, you don't want them to say, I didn't like that house. I didn't like that vibe. I didn't like that, because that's the one thing they remember.
Yeah.
So cleanliness just goes a huge, long way. And if you have things that aren't properly stored, people think, well, if they don't have room for storage, then I don't have room for storage, right?
Yeah.
So declutter, depersonalize, there's nothing new. Everybody kind of knows these things, but it really takes a lot of work. I mean, I know personally, when we sold our house, my wife would spend hours cleaning and to make sure that house is perfect for everybody that comes and sees it. And, people are busy in jobs and wives and kids, so it's hard and it's complicated. But that's what you need to do if you want max dollar for your house.
Cool.
Just as simple as that.
Yeah, well, you say everyone knows that, but I don't know if they do or not. 'Cause
Well,
I've seen a lot of people who are like, I don't know what to do, and you're like, well, here, and they're like, oh yeah, we know that, but they don't, like, at the
Right.
same time, so.
And you
This is a
think
good
about,
tip.
saying like, okay, I want to paint that wall because it's green, and I want to appeal to as many people as possible. All right, so I got to go down to Home Depot. I got to buy a gallon of paint. I got to put it on the wall. But I'm coaching my kids' teams, and I work 50 hours a week, and my wife, and so that wall doesn't get painted, or it takes 2 months, right? So it's
Yeah.
2 more months of mortgage payments that you're making, and then the sales process takes a couple of months. So, you either get on it and hire somebody, or you accept the fact that you're going to get less for your home. And that's just the reality, because the market doesn't care about your feelings, right? It is. The
Yeah.
market is what it is.
Yeah, it's a rough truth, but
Yeah,
true.
it is very true, and that's sometimes. And like I said, all the homeowners know that, but I understand, and I have sympathetic to that process. That you have a lot of things on your plate, and it's hard to get to everything.
Yeah.
So my advice is hire out as much of it as you can, because you're not going to get to it. Just pay somebody to do it, a professional, make it look perfect, and move on with your life.
Yeah, cheap, easy, get it done.
Yeah.
Because you're right, painting a wall, having a professional do is probably less expensive than 3-4 months of mortgage payments of a couple $1,000s.
Yeah,
So,
and if you're not
yeah.
great at it, and it drips and makes it worse, and you spill some paint, it's just, it can be a very sound investment to make sure that those things are done. But even if you can't do that, if you don't have the financial means to do that, make sure the house is absolutely perfectly clean. That makes a huge difference. Decluttered, depersonalized, and clean.
Yeah, pretty cool, awesome.
And ultimately, that comes down to dollars, right? Like
Yeah.
you do this, and you get paid more for your home.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that helps, right?
Yeah,
it's
it's
good
totally.
on both sides,
Yeah.
They pay a little more, it's fine, they're happy with the house, they like it,
Yeah.
and then you get a little more on your end.
Right.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
Cool, awesome. Well, we're getting down to the end of it, so.
Wow, that went quick.
Yeah, yes. I looked down and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So how can people get a hold of you?
The best way is through the website, athertonnh.com. All of our information is on there. You can email me at john@athertonnh.com. Happy to walk anybody through the process. I sold a house in Littleton. I've sold houses in Nashua. I live in Henniker. My office is in Manchester, so I kind of will go wherever the work is.
Yeah.
And so Atherton NH is the best way to get a hold of us.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Until next week.